For ABS CBN, it has always been my prayer that we don't that ABS CBN would not become bitter because of what happened to it, but would become better because of the lessons that were learned from it. Well, my prayer for myself is that I remain steadfast. When this whole pandemic is over and done with, there will be other challenges that will come. So I'm praying that I can always be someone that can inspire and encourage many. As for the Philippines and my family, I pray for protection because I believe that God will allow certain things to happen in our lives, even something like a pandemic, but it's not meant to destroy us, but to break us enough so that we can allow His hands to put us back together again. And when He puts things, when we allow His hands to put our hearts and our lives back together again, then He restores. And when He restores, Mario, He doesn't restore back to the former. He restores beyond that. So that's what I'm really, really hoping. We don't see it, we don't feel it, we can't even see what's up ahead. We're even scared, some of us, to know what's going to happen tomorrow. But that's my prayer. And that's my prayer for the Philippines that now, if we are pushed to our knees, then let's go on our knees and let's ask God to be who He claimed to be, who He always said He wanted to be in our lives. This could be the opportunity for us to see that and to really experience that. Yeah. For ABS CBN, it has always been my prayer that we don't that ABS CBN would not become bitter because of what happened to it, but would become better because of the lessons that were learned from it. And to the leaders of the country, I pray that they learn from the leader. There's a lot of sacrifice, there's a lot of selflessness that needs to go into it. But can you imagine if our leaders took lead from the leader? Then I believe that the Philippines, no matter what is said about it, no matter where we are, they say we're the third world nation. Oh, so what? But when we begin when the leaders of this country begin to understand that they already are in position, they're in a situation, they're in a position of power that God has allowed them to be in, there must be a reason. And it may be to change the way things are. Whether it's something against corruption, whether it's something against anything out there that has always tainted our government with. Can you imagine if leaders just kind of just said, you know what, we're just going to follow God's will. What? Pero paano yan? May mga ganyan-ganyan. We're just going to follow God's will. And God will chisel. And it's painful to be chiseled. Tatanggalin yung mga hindi dapat. And He'll prune us to become, and I say us because I think all of us need that, but He'll prune us to a point where we are made to be more of what He said we are. We are supposed to be His part of it. We are supposed to be made in His image and His likeness. So when that happens, can you imagine what's going to, I mean, a lot of people will go, huh? But when they see that there are changes going on, not just on the outside, but more so on the inside of our leaders, can you imagine the number of people that will follow and that will say, I want to be like that? And I don't know. I think that's my prayer talaga for them. That at some point in time, God will visit them and they will soften their hearts enough to listen. Just to listen and see what God really wants them to do. Wow, it's hard, because, okay, I prayed for a friend. His name was Raymond Isaac.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And I was, if you watch my vlogs, I have walking, hiking. I used to do bike vlogs, but when I was in the US, I didn't have a bike. So I would walk miles and miles and miles. And in the middle of my walks, I would pray for different things. I would pray for
Yeah.
my health. I'd pray for my family, my wife, and I'd pray for friends. And one of the friends that I remember
That's
that
Raymond.
was Raymond. So when I found out that he passed away, as painful as my heart was, I believed, because I did pray in my time with the Lord. I said, Lord, visit him, visit him, even when he's in that state. Visit him. Do something that only you can. And I'm trusting God that that's what he did. And so I know that to our eyes, COVID took him, but I really think it was God's hand that said, a lot of people will say that it was too early for you to go, but my timing is perfect. And I'm taking you not just away from people, I'm taking you to be with me. And I'm believing that. And that was one of my very personal prayers. I think that's a great question because technology can easily veer us away from prayer. It can veer us away from reading. It can veer us away from, it makes us very choosy as to what we want. But I think for prayer to keep up with technology, I think it's already there. I mean, with pray.com, I was floored when I first went through the app. I was like, wow, and I'm going to be a part of this. So it actually, it's not just keeping up with prayer, but it's actually giving more than what people would have probably expected out of the app. There's music, there's everything there. Joshua just provided a sample a while ago, a demo of it. It's important. It's important, but technology is not everything. It's probably prayer is the one thing you can do, even should all technology fail. It doesn't mean that God's going to fail. If you've never reached out to God in any other way except through technology, you'll be surprised how you can reach out to Him even without it. There are people who have gotten stuck in accidents, who have gotten stuck in islands, who have gotten stuck in the sea, and all communication is gone. That's technology, and all they do is just pray. And the rawness of the heart reaching out to a God that loves, uh, you know, technology. Yeah, it's good to keep up with it. But when all else is said and done, it was there before that, all the technology, it will be there way after it. If I had time, um, w- okay, put it this way. I was told, okay, and I was, how can I put this? With all the endorsements and everything else, I think this probably would be the one that really has stirred my heart into the urgency of making people, it's not shoving something down their throats, it's just knowing that the harvest, parang everybody, there's so many people that are ripe to know what prayer is all about. I cannot say that every prayer will be answered with a yes, because some of the answers may be no, and some of the answers may be wait, just wait. However, one thing I do know is that there is a kind of peace that God gives us, that surpasses all our understanding when we pray. And that's why it's so important to me that over and above every endorsement, and even over and above every show I've done, this is really what matters, because this is what keeps people company when there's no show, when people are just on their own. They really never are on their own because they can pray. When they're when in their car stuck in traffic, they're never just stuck in traffic because they can pray. When the doctor tells them, you have this and you have this, or when the doctor says your mom has this, your dad has this, you can pray. And it may hurt you, you may cry and all, but when you know that God is right there with you, not looking at you from a distance saying, well, you have to go through this, I'm sorry. Nah, you're not doing good. Well, you didn't do good in that and you didn't good. When you pray, He's right there. He's seated right there with you. If you weep, He's probably weeping with you. But everything works for the good of those who love Him and are called according to His purpose. And He'll never go back against His word. So now, when people pray, I don't know what the answer may be, but God will answer somehow and He'll give that peace. And I feel that that's why it's important for me that I am a part of something like this. It's not a big concert, but it will create something big still in people's lives when they are encouraged to pray.